We have a really, really special one-time only concert, March 19th. We're going to tell you about in just a second. So stay with us. I'm Peter Hall, host on WNED Classical, and my special guest today is Adam Luebke. Adam is the music director of the Buffalo Philharmonic Chorus. He also teaches at SUNY Fredonia, but it's the chorus we want to talk about today because of this special program. One day only, Sunday, March 19th at 3 o'clock at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, 1080 Main Street. Adam.
Hi, it's good to see you, Peter. Thanks for having me.
And before we even start, we do have to congratulate you once again on your 2020 Grammy Award. The chorus nailed one there.
Thank you. Yes, it's such a thrill and an honor to represent Western New York in such a way, and I know that the chorus members they just love it. They just love it.
Well, the event that Sunday, March 19th in the afternoon is in two parts. The first part is music from a long time ago by Bach, the Magnificat. You can tell us about that in just a second. And a little later on, we're going to talk about the modern piece, the 21st century piece, Alzheimer's Stories. But the concert starts with something from a long time ago, something by Johann Sebastian Bach, his Magnificat, which has a lot of fans. So tell me, Adam, why did you decide to pair these two, the Magnificat and the contemporary work?
Well, I'm always looking for interesting programming that's both exciting and appeals to a wide variety of listeners. And I'm a big lover of Bach, and both of these pieces pair up well in that they're both about the same length, about half an hour each, and they're just so wildly different. The Bach, of course, is Baroque with lots of solos alternating with the choruses and lots of melismas and some counterpoint and three trumpets. It's just a thrilling, exciting piece. And so it's sort of excitement from one bar line to the end. And so I'm really excited to do it. The chorus has not performed it in a long time, and it's a favorite of mine as well. So it's a very festive and exuberant start to the concert.
Now, occasionally I'm going to have to pull you back, Professor Luebke of SUNY Fredonia, for throwing out some technical terms. Lots of melismas in Bach.
Yes,
Okay.
melismas are when you sing many notes to one syllable, usually very fast. So they're also called runs because they can go up and down scales and things like that. And if you're familiar with Messiah that we do every year, you'll hear it's very similar to that.
And I think most of us have actually sung a melisma in the Christmas Carol where, we hold that Gloria for
Absolutely,
many,
that's
many
exactly right.
And before we get to the new work, still with Bach, every year as I get older, I'm more and more attracted to the music of Bach. And I don't know why. Can you explain that?
Well, I think that there's something special, particularly about the Magnificat, because it was kind of an opportunity for him to show off. This was the first big festive work that he wrote when he started his job at Leipzig. And so it was a chance, the feast for the Visitation of Mary came up in the summer, and it was a chance for him to just demonstrate all of his compositional prowess. And so what excites me about Bach is that there's, like I said, lots of contrast. There are some really strong parts where the chorus sings slowly and together. But every member of the chorus, every section, which in this work is divided into five. There's two soprano parts. There's soprano one, soprano two, alto, tenor, bass. Everyone gets their chance to sort of take on the theme. He writes a main theme in each movement, and the other parts get to be backup. And so every voice part trades the main theme off back and forth. And it's really exciting to hear it move across the chorus. And one thing about this piece in particular is sometimes the theme is really long, and then by the end of the movement, it brings those, introduces the statement of every theme really quickly and piles it on top of each other to build the excitement into the end. And so I think it's things like that that sort of keep drawing me to Bach and exploring how he just masterfully writes music that comes to a head.
Now, it's not just the chorus. You're going to be joined by a number of musicians, many of whom have full-time gigs with the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra, and they call themselves the Buffalo Chamber Players. They perform throughout town regularly, and you're going to have a number of, about how many players from the BCP are you going to have, do you think?
We have about 20 different players for this.
That's big. That's
The
big for
orchestra,
them.
well, each piece requires a slightly different group of instruments. So the Bach is more of a traditional orchestra that you'll see with violins, violas, cellos, woodwinds, flutes and oboes, and trumpets and timpani. Very standard Baroque, at least, orchestras. And we've pared it down because it's Baroque, and so it won't be a big full orchestra like you would see at a BPO concert at Kleinhans. And then the Alzheimer's Stories piece has a very unique instrumental accompaniment ensemble that is all about color and creating atmosphere and really interesting accompanimental colors.
So we're going to jump from the early 1700s to the early 2020s. Alzheimer's Stories by Robert Cohen, composed in 2009. I have heard this now. I was moved. I'm telling everyone viewing this Zoom, when you go, bring a box of Kleenex. It's really powerful. My mom suffered from Alzheimer's of late in life, and every note, every word just rang so true. It's a really powerful work. But I noticed the orchestra with the chorus is incredibly percussive. You've got like 4 percussionists and a timpanist playing the kettle drums and a piano, which is, let's face it, a percussion instrument.
Yeah.
That's like 6 people banging away on stuff. Why so heavy with the percussion?
Well, as I alluded to, I think it has to do with colors, and unlike a piece from the 19th century where you hear really long melodies, the orchestra doesn't play a lot of long melodies. It's very percussive and rhythmic accompaniment. And so the percussion instruments add all kinds of different layers of sound and colors of sound. And you'll hear the orchestra, or the instrumental ensemble, I should say, sort of depicting, what's kind of going on in the brain. It starts off very cohesive and begins to become disjunct and disjointed. And it's really a remarkable, beautiful way to write music, to sort of create an image and create an oral image for the piece.
Well, as we've been mentioning, the work is called Alzheimer's Stories. And if I can quote from a release, the words are taken from people impacted by the disease, both the afflicted and the caregivers. It conveys the evolution of the disease and the disjointedness of the mind, moments of clarity, the anguish of seeing loved ones taken from them. And it ultimately, however, offers hope and support for the caregivers. As I said, having lived through my mom with Alzheimer's, wow, it's tough. You lose the loved one twice, first to the disease, and then ultimately they die. And it's just like, wow. So
Yeah.
this one work in 30 minutes, I went through all those emotions. Can't recommend it highly enough. I see it's in 3 parts. First is sort of a little history, the numbers. Then the part that got to me, the middle, the stories, where caregivers, talk about their loved ones. And then finally, a section titled For the Caregivers. So how would you describe these 3 different sections?
Well, they all sort of talk about how what the disease is, and so I think it's really powerful that the text came from actually members of the chorus for whom the work was commissioned back in 2009, and the librettists crafted their responses and their text into this libretto, this dialogue of words, and so. You get to hear my cat here. I apologize. So the first movement, as you said, talks about numbers, and it describes the how the disease was first diagnosed, and the first patient, but also the numbers of people who've been afflicted worldwide, and in the millions of people. And it sort of lays the scene for how the disease it is wildly impactful. That I can't imagine. There are so many who are dealing with family members and friends who are suffering with memory dementia and memory loss. And then, as you alluded to, the second movement really talks about real life situations. It may not be a situation that you may have personally gone through, but it's certainly something you can relate to, where it's the grandfather telling stories over and over again, and the chorus gets to chime in and and repeat all the words that are happening, or the conversation with your mother when it's time to take the car keys away because you've blown through a stop sign. Those kinds of elements are raw and very emotional and intense, and they're there in the music set just beautifully and poignantly, with beautiful melodies. This is the part where the melodies really come through. And then the last movement to me is the most exciting, and it's about the refrain, "Sing anything, because love and music are the last things to go." And those words come from some folks who've lived through the experience. So it's not just a creation of the composer or the art or the poet. And so that refrain over and over again provides hope and optimism that for those who are in the terrible situation to care for their loved ones. And so I just am so excited about this piece. We will have all of the text projected while the piece is being performed, so you don't have to be staring at your program to read what's going on. You can be a part of the immersive experience of the concert, and read the text as the chorus and the soloists are singing it.
Well, as I say, having seen this now on YouTube with another chorus, I was profoundly moved. There's a section where we hear about Dr. Alzheimer's, I guess, first patient, who says, she was German, "Ich habe mich verloren," I have lost myself. And that kind of sets you back on your heels. And then the numbers, as you mentioned, the chorus sings it, 26 million worldwide. That's quite a statistic.
Yeah.
And then I totally agree. The second part, the stories with those melodies, and then the third part where the chorus sings, "Love and music are the last things to go." We've heard that over and over again. If you can play music for folks, it takes them back and they come alive again. And here we're going to get more than a whole hour of music, Bach and this new work by Robert Cohen. Well, I'm so looking forward to it. Once again, everyone, it's going to be Sunday, March 19th, this year at 3:00 at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. That's 1080 Main Street in Buffalo. I always mention that to my friends. There are two churches in Buffalo with the word Trinity in them, and people get confused. Yeah. This is the one on Main Street. We've fallen in love with your cat as well.
Yes, of course.
What's her name?
This is Joey.
Or Joey.
One of the many cats of Zoom, right? He always,
I know.
He always finds the wrong time to say hello.
Of course. I was going to say, Adam, no one's listening to you right now. We're just falling in love with the cat in the background. I love it. Well, it happens everywhere, from the PBS NewsHour to this Zoom call, everywhere in between. There's Zoe once again. Well, I can't thank you enough. Any final thoughts?
Just that tickets are available at bpchorus.org at our website, and we hope you can come out. It's going to be a really powerful, moving performance, and we're just it's also a unique performance for the chorus because we had originally planned it back in 2020. And have postponed it a number of times. And so we're finally, third time's a charm, mounting this performance, and we're very excited to finally get this music out to our audience and to the community of Western New York. We're thrilled that we're able to partner also with Alzheimer's Association of Western New York, who will have representation on hand and to talk and share a little bit about their mission and the work that they do to support the families and all of those who are impacted by this disease.
Once again, thank you. Can't wait.
Thank you, Peter.
Bye for now.